Hello students, welcome to this video lecture series on biochemistry. I am your teacher Ashwini Kumar Nigam. In previous lecture we have studied about amino acids and their chemical structures. Today we shall learn about the classification, stereochemistry and different properties of amino acids. Let us start with the classification. There are two different criteria to classify standard amino acids. First will be based on the nutritional requirement and second will be based on the polarity of variable R groups or side chains of amino acids. First we will classify amino acids based on nutritional requirement. According to this classification, amino acids are classified into three major categories. First as essential amino acids, second as conditionally essential amino acids and third as non-essential amino acids. So we will take one by one each of these types of amino acids. So first, essential amino acids. What are these amino acids? Actually essential amino acids are those which are not synthesized by our body. Means our body is lacking those metabolic pathways which are required to synthesize such amino acids. As a result, they must come from our food. Actually, amino acids are taken in the form of proteins such as like those from milk in the form of casein and also different types of the proteins present in the pulses and meats and so on. And after digestion, released free amino acids are absorbed and assimilated to become the part of structural as well as functional proteins. Okay, so these essential amino acids are valine, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine and tryptophan. Means all these 9 amino acids are not synthesized by our system, that's why they must come from our food or diet, and their deficiency may lead to reduced protein synthesis and thereby may cause mild to severe health issues. Now next group is conditionally essential amino acids. What are these amino acids? Actually conditionally essential amino acids are non-essential amino acids because they are synthesized in proper and adequate amount in our body under normal healthy conditions. Okay, but their synthesis becomes reduced under certain diseased condition or certain stressed condition, or our body need extra amounts of these amino acids from our food to combat with such conditions. Okay, and what are these amino acids? These are arginine, cysteine, glutamine, serine, tyrosine, glycine and proline. Okay, now the last group is non-essential amino acids. These amino acids are essentially and strictly non-essential amino acids because they are synthesized in our body in very adequate amount and our body is not dependent upon the external source, and these are alanine, asparagine, aspartate and glutamate. So this is all about the classification of amino acids based on nutritional requirement. Now next classification of the amino acid is based on polarity of variable R groups. Okay, so as we know that each and every amino acid is different from another amino acid just because of the different R groups they possess. Okay, or you can say there are different R groups on different amino acids. So on the basis of those R groups, variable R groups, whole amino acids are classified into two major categories. First is amino acids with non-polar or hydrophobic R groups, and second is amino acids with polar or hydrophilic R group, or you can say in general hydrophobic amino acids or non-polar amino acids, and second major group is polar or hydrophilic R groups. Non-polar or hydrophobic R groups means they cannot interact with water. Okay, means they are hydrophobic, they are water hating groups in those amino acids. Okay, if you recall from the general structure of the amino acids are having two more functional groups. Those are constant for each and every type of amino acids, and those are amino group and carboxyl group, or you can say alpha amino group and alpha carboxyl groups. If they are ionized, they can interact with water, or you can say whatever is the level of the organization, those alpha groups are functional groups are able to interact with water, okay, but those groups are same and those groups are important for the different solubility or different ionization pattern and different acid base property of that amino acid. But here we are classifying these amino acid based on the polarity or hydrophobicity or hydrophilicity of these R groups. So second, as we have seen here, that non-polar or hydrophobic R groups cannot interact with water, and those polar and hydrophilic R groups can interact with water, okay. So next is to classify further these amino acids with non-polar or hydrophobic R groups. So these non-polar or hydrophobic R groups are further classified into two different categories. First, with aliphatic R group including alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, methionine, glycine and proline, and another group is with aromatic R groups, and those aromatic R group containing amino acids are phenylalanine and tryptophan. There is another aromatic R group containing amino acid which is tyrosine, but that has been categorized under the polar R groups. I will explain you later why tyrosine has been placed in the polar R group during this classification, okay. So next is to classify further amino acids with polar or hydrophilic R groups. So these are further classified into two categories. First one with uncharged polar R groups, okay, and those uncharged polar R group containing amino acids are serine, threonine, asparagine, glutamine, cysteine and tyrosine. Here you can see here tyrosine is the aromatic R group containing amino acid, but it is having the polar R group, that's why it is placed here. Now next category is amino acids with charged polar R group. इसमें first we have seen that uncharged polar R group and second group is charged polar R group, and in that charged polar R group further there are two categories. First one with positively charged R groups, and these charged R groups containing amino acids are lysine, arginine and histidine. These positively charged R group containing amino acids are also classified as basic amino acids. And the last one is negatively charged R group containing amino acids, which are aspartate and glutamate. These negatively charged R group containing amino acids are also known as or also classified as acidic amino acids, okay. So this is the overall summary of the classification of the amino acid based on the polarity of variable R groups. So from this section onwards we will understand the detailed classification of amino acids based on the polarity of variable R groups by understanding the whole chemical structure of each and every amino acids, okay. The classification of the amino acids with aliphatic R group is highlighted, including alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, methionine, glycine and proline. Now let us understand the structure of variable R groups of these amino acids. So first we will start from the glycine, okay. In glycine you will see the only hydrogen atom that cannot interact with water, okay. Now next amino acid is alanine. It is also having the hydrophobic methyl group as R group. Then next is valine. It is containing isopropyl group. This CH3 branched chain amino acid valine is containing isopropyl group as a side chain. This isopropyl group is also hydrophobic group. Then next is leucine. It is containing, you can say it is containing a type of isopropyl group with a methyl spacer, but whole R group is known as isobutyl R group, okay. So this leucine is containing isobutyl R group, which is also very strongly hydrophobic branched group. Next is isoleucine. It is also having branched hydrophobic R group. So in the structure of isoleucine you can see R group in the form of secondary butyl group. So this secondary butyl group is also a type of branched hydrophobic group which cannot interact with water. Now next is methionine. You can see methionine having R group in the form of CH2CH2SCH3. This group is also hydrophobic group because there is no atom or no group which can interact with water or which can make hydrogen bonding with water. And the last but not least for the rest of the amino acid classification is the proline. The proline is having the heterocyclic group where its alpha amino group is the part of the cyclic structure, and here also you can see nothing is present in the R group which can interact with water. So all these aliphatic R group containing amino acids are deficient in the structure or deficient in the groups which can interact with water, or you can say they are deficient in the group in their R side chain which can interact with water, and that is why these amino acids are classified as strongly hydrophobic amino acids. Now next group is aromatic R group containing amino acids, and here you can see phenylalanine. Phenylalanine is having methyl spacer plus phenyl group as a R group. So phenylalanine means which is the substitution product of the alanine, where one hydrogen atom of the alanine is substituted by the phenyl group resulting in the formation of phenylalanine. So phenylalanine is also a very hydrophobic amino acid because you can see here the absence of any group in the R side chain which can interact with water. And next aromatic R group containing amino acid is tryptophan. In this structure of tryptophan, you can see that after the 1 carbon methylene bridge or spacer, there are 2 ring structures. Okay, so first ring structure, which is nitrogen containing heterocyclic 5-membered ring, is indole ring, followed by the 6-membered aromatic ring, okay, that is benzene ring or phenyl group. So in this form we can see 2 different types of cyclic structures or cyclic groups are present in the tryptophan: nitrogen containing indole ring and then phenyl ring. So due to the presence of these 2 rings, tryptophan is a type of hydrophobic amino acid, or you can say side chain of the tryptophan is hydrophobic because it is not able to interact with water with frequency. But we can see that here is the presence of hydrogen connected to the nitrogen in the indole ring. That is why it can form some sort of the hydrogen bonding with the water. So you cannot say that this side chain of the tryptophan is strictly hydrophobic. So you can say the degree of the hydrophobicity of the tryptophan is less than that of the phenylalanine, because in the phenylalanine, phenyl group is entirely unable to interact with water. So in other words, if you talk about on the scale of the polarity, tryptophan is slightly more polar than the phenylalanine. Another aromatic R group containing amino acid is tyrosine, but you can see here hydroxyl group which can interact with water, or you can say hydrogen of the hydroxyl group of the tyrosine can interact with water, can form hydrogen bond with water. So this tyrosine amino acid is placed under the group of the polar amino acids. You can see this tyrosine in the group where I have written it as with uncharged polar R group. Now at this point we can compare the non-polarity or polarity of these 3 aromatic R group containing amino acids, or you can say the polarity or non-polarity of phenylalanine, tryptophan and tyrosine. So on the scale of the polarity, tyrosine is more polar than the tryptophan, and which in turn is more polar than the phenylalanine. And on the scale of the non-polarity, the R group of the phenylalanine is more non-polar or more hydrophobic than the tryptophan, and which in turn is more non-polar or more hydrophobic than that of the tyrosine. So next is amino acids with uncharged polar R groups, and those are serine and threonine. In these two amino acids you can see hydroxyl group is present at the terminal point in the R group, and these hydroxyl group can interact with water, or you can say hydrogen atom of these hydroxyl group can make hydrogen bonding with water molecule. Okay, so they are water loving groups. Another hydrophilic amino acids, uncharged hydrophilic amino acids are asparagine and glutamine. In these two amino acid, asparagine and glutamine, you can see amide group as a terminal functional group in the R group. Okay, so these amide groups can also interact with water, they can also form hydrogen bonding with water. Next group amino acid is cysteine. So cysteine is also having free sulfhydryl group, and hydrogen atom of this free sulfhydryl group can also form hydrogen bonding with water. So this cysteine can also recognized as or classified as uncharged polar R group containing amino acid. And the last in this section we have already studied about the tyrosine, hydrogen atom of the terminal functional group hydroxyl group can interact with water by forming hydrogen bonding. So all these amino acids which are containing such functional group which can contact with water, or which can interact with water, or which can make hydrogen bonding with water, they are categorized as hydrophilic amino acids or amino acids with polar uncharged hydrophilic groups. Now next category is under the charged polar R group, and in that charged polar R group we will first take up positively charged polar R groups. Okay, so lysine, arginine and histidine, all these three amino acids are containing terminal amino group which is ionized as positive charge group. Okay, so these positive charge groups can also be dissolved easily in the water, that's why these amino acids are polar. Okay, so you can see here in lysine a positively charged amino group is placed just after the butyl group. Okay, यहाँ 4 methyl spacer you can see here, and you can classify or you can designate this spacer in the form of butyl spacer, and after the butyl spacer one amino group is present which is ionized as positively charged group. And in arginine you can see here is propyl spacer. Okay, so after the propyl spacer, 3 carbon spacer, you can see here a type of group which is just a substituted urea group. Urea is known as NH2C double bond O फिर NH2, so that group is substituted urea group. You can substitute NH2 group in place of the oxygen of the urea. So this group is known as NHC double bond NH2, then single bond NH2 is known as guanidinium group. Okay, so in arginine whole R group is known as propyl guanidinium group. Okay, so propyl guanidinium group is positively charged here, so that arginine is positively charged polar amino acid. And then histidine, you can see here the heterocyclic structure in which NH is converted into NH2 plus. Here it is not shown like charged condition, but it is ionized as NH2 plus charge in the heterocyclic group. So these 3 amino acids are positively charged amino acids. Now the last group is of amino acids with negatively charged R groups, and those are aspartate and glutamate. You can see carboxylate ion or carboxylic acid group at the terminal point in these 2 types of amino acid. The presence of these carboxylic acid groups make these 2 amino acid acidic in nature. Okay, that's why these 2 amino acids aspartate and glutamate are also classified as acidic amino acids. So this is all about the classification of amino acids based on the polarity of variable R groups according to their structure. Now under the chemistry of amino acids there are 2 different but interrelated points or topics which are chirality and optical activity. As we know that in a typical amino acid structure, the central alpha carbon is covalently bound to 4 different groups, which are a carboxylic group or carboxyl group, an amino group, a hydrogen atom, and an R group. Thus, central alpha carbon or central alpha atom is a chiral center, and a molecule or compound bearing chiral center becomes optically active one. On the basis of this, all alpha amino acids except for the glycine possess chiral center and they are optically active. Glycine is an optically inactive amino acid just because of the presence of achiral alpha carbon, because in glycine R group is another hydrogen atom. Now, what is the optical activity? Optical activity of any molecule or substance confers its ability to rotate plane polarized light. We can understand the optical activity by observing or understanding this animation. There is a light source, it provides light rays, and light rays will vibrate in all dimensions or many of the planes, many of the possible planes. Now that normal light beam is made to be passed through from a polarizer. This polarizer is a type of instrument or is a type of screen that will filter out all the planes and permitting the transmission of a light beam with a single plane. Now this is the plane polarized light transmitting from the polarizer. Now this plane polarized light, if crosses any solution, say for example here the amino acid solution, after passing through this solution, the optically active compound may rotate the plane polarized light. Okay, so property will depend upon the direction of the rotation of the plane polarized light by the amino acid solutions. When the solution is able to rotate the plane polarized light in anti-clockwise direction, the compound is said to be levorotatory. Okay, and when the compound is able to rotate the plane polarized light in clockwise direction, it is said to be a type of dextrorotatory molecule. Okay, levorotation is designated by minus or small l, and dextrorotation property is designated by plus or small d. Now the next related topic to the optical activity is stereoisomerism in alpha amino acids or stereoisomers of alpha amino acids. In an optically active amino acid, 4 different groups are arranged in tetrahedral 3-dimensional organization around the central alpha carbon atom. And due to this condition, all 4 different groups of an amino acid can occupy 2 unique spatial arrangements or 2 unique arrangements in space. That is why each amino acid can have 2 possible stereoisomers. Okay, in DL system of the absolute configuration, these stereoisomers of amino acids are designated as L and D forms or L and D isomers. These L and D isomers are always written in capital L and capital D form, not as small l and small d. As in previous section we have learned that small l refers to levorotatory and small d refers to dextrorotatory property of an optically active molecule. And these capital L and capital D stereoisomers are non-superimposable mirror images of each other, and that's why they are also called as enantiomers. Okay, so enantiomers of amino acids are L form or D form, or L amino acids and D amino acids. Now what will be the configuration of these L and D amino acids on two-dimensional plain paper? Okay. For this configuration, the configuration of glyceraldehyde, a 3-carbon simplest sugar, is used as reference absolute configuration molecule as proposed by Emil Fischer. Now we can see here the structure of reference molecule glyceraldehyde as L-glyceraldehyde in the left panel and D-glyceraldehyde in the right panel. Okay, all these 4 different groups, which are CHO and aldehyde group, then hydroxyl group, then hydrogen atom, and then CH2OH group. All these 4 groups are asymmetrically arranged in tetrahedral organization around the central carbon atom. Okay, so the arrangement of these 4 groups around the central carbon atom can be of 2 types, like the structure of these L and D enantiomers of glyceraldehyde. So according to Emil Fischer, for all chiral compounds, stereoisomers having configuration related to that of D-glyceraldehyde are designated as D isomer, and stereoisomers related to L-glyceraldehyde are designated to L isomers. So according to this rule, functional group of amino acids are matched or aligned with those of glyceraldehyde. Okay, so when we will align according to those that can be interconverted by one step chemical reaction like oxidation or reduction reactions. Thus carboxyl group of amino acids occupy the same position around the central alpha carbon atom as does the aldehyde group of L-glyceraldehyde. Why this? Because aldehyde group can be readily converted into carboxyl group by single one-step oxidation method or vice versa. So after aligning the carboxyl group of the L-alanine just compared to that of the glyceraldehyde aldehyde, we can write NH3 or amino group to the left of the central chiral alpha carbon and hydrogen atom at the right side of the alpha carbon and methyl group below the alpha carbon. And in D-alanine, while drawing its mirror image, non-superimposable mirror image, we will write or place amino group or NH3 plus group on the right side of the alpha carbon and hydrogen atom at the left side of the alpha carbon atom. Okay, this is the configuration which we write on the plain two-dimensional paper. But if we look these groups, arrangement of these groups in 3-dimensional view, these groups will be either away from the reader or these groups may be towards the reader with respect to each other and with respect to the central alpha carbon atom. Okay, if the groups are away from the reader, they are drawn or written in the form of or through a bond which is drawn as dashed line. Okay, like those of the bonding the central alpha carbon to carboxyl group and methyl group, and the groups which are towards the reader, okay, they are drawn using the continuous wedge shape line or wedge shape bond such as amino group and hydrogen atom. So these are two configurations or two enantiomers of alanine, L-alanine and D-alanine. Okay, this convention of the writing or drawing the structure of amino acids on plain paper like L and D form is not always corresponding to their levo or dextrorotatory properties, because all L amino acids may not be levorotatory and all the D amino acids are not the dextrorotatory. These are just the convention of writing their structures or chemical structures on the plain paper according to the Emil Fischer. So this was about the chirality, optical activity and stereoisomerism in alpha amino acids.
Thank you all for listening and watching the whole video with patience. All the best.